Good. Back mic again.
We send them a photograph album of their new investment property. Different
Photograph album of their new investment property. Very good idea. Front mic.
Barbecue day, take everyone out on the boats and show them new products.
Take them out on your boats and show them stuff. Good idea. Back mic.
Round of golf with a PGA Pro.
Round of golf with a PGA Pro. That's nice. Front mic.
Give them new samples of new products and things that you've got after the sale.
Absolutely. It's not so much of a deposit, though, if it looks salesy. Always remember that. If it looks salesy, it's not always a good deposit. So back mic.
Send them a brochure of the holiday they'll be able to take with the extra profit we can make for them.
A brochure of the holiday with the extra profit you'll make. Excellent. Front mic.
Send them a gold pen with the new company name actually inscribed in the gold pen, their new company name for each franchise.
Very nice. Back mic.
We send them a first aid kit out after each service we've done for them.
So when you do their car for them, you send them a first aid kit for the car?
No, we send a car first aid kit with every pest control service we do.
Excellent idea. Good. Front mic.
We do children's musical shows like the Wiggles, and every party booking we give them a CD, a music CD, which we've made ourselves, to take home.
Fantastic.
To listen to before their party.
Fantastic. Good. Back mic.
I sell and help people invest into investment property, and I've given some of my clients your book, Billionaires in Training. Get them thinking.
Excellent idea. Everyone should use that idea, I think. Lyndon.
I've been exporting, so I send them a gift relative to the country that the products come from.
Fantastic idea. Good idea. Back, Mike?
Yeah. After they've been with me for a month, I take back the plastic binder that they've got their notes in and give them a really nice leather binder.
Very
with
nice.
their goals laminated in the front.
Very nice.
When we sell someone's home after they've moved in, after a couple of weeks, we send them some movie tickets to have a night out on us.
Fantastic idea. Movie tickets. Very good. Back, Mike.
Two ideas. Firstly, a tenant on settlement for an investment property, but more practically, a gift basket on settlement.
Very nice. Front.
We do exterior cladding, so we can give the client a matching letterbox to match the new house.
Very nice. Very nice. Matching letterbox for the house. Just some other ideas. If you're a real estate agent, because I know there's a few of you in the room, when a client moves to their house, what is the one thing that they need most? Knowledge on where to shop and buy things in the area. Could you go to every local distributor of stuff, the local hardware, and get a voucher for a free shovel? The local nursery and get a voucher for 2 free trees? The local bottle shop and get a bottle of wine voucher? And you give them a booklet with like 30 different things, all free, all organised by you, saying, look, because you've moved in the area, we know sometimes it's a challenge to find suppliers that are good. These are the people that we use in the area and that we know and we've used for years and we trust. Here's just a letter of introduction for you to go in there. And we've actually already bought for you a couple of trees, a letterbox, or whatever it is that you organise. Does that make sense? Because that one there is vital when they move into an area. And it costs you nothing because you get all of the other companies. How many restaurants in the area would like to know when people move to the area, would they be willing to give them a free bottle of wine with dinner? You know, how many, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Many of us can do that sort of stuff. I'll give you a few more ideas around emotional bank balance deposits. Like in the car game, a couple of my clients are, they call it car detailers. And whenever a car is detailed, you get it back. Well, as soon as you get back in the car, there's actually a bottle of water sitting in the car for you to have a drink. Because generally when you've left the car to be detailed, where have you been? Out in the sun, out shopping, out doing something. You know, it costs them $1 I think it costs them like 40 cents for the bottle of water. But it's just a simple little thing, and people go, wow, that's kind of different. And that's what we look for, emotional bank balance deposits. It needs to be something that's kind of different. Because if it's the same, if it's just, like I know the gift baskets when you move into a house, it's kind of nice, but the movie tickets, it's different. It's not what everybody does. But the best time to do it is when they don't expect it. and they don't expect it. That's the best time to do it. So what if instead of giving it to them on settlement, the moment they sign, you changed? Instead of on settlement, on move-in day. What else can you do? A whole lot of different things. Just change your thinking.
I actually have to visit my clients, and we sell alarm systems and camera systems. Can you give me any suggestions on what I can...
So you visit them after they've got it in place?
No, we actually sell it to them, and then we come back and install it.
Yeah, so after the installation, what can you send to them that will be an emotional bank balance deposit?
Well, the only things that I can think of that are a bit different are things like smoke alarms that are a little bit related to the security.
Yeah, see, this is the whole thing. If you want to try and do it related to what you're doing, it's kind of like, yeah, that's kind of nice, but...
Do you have to do it related?
No, I would do it totally unrelated. Now that you feel more safe and secure in your home, it's time to relax. Here's a voucher for a massage.
I actually sell to commercial most.
Well, even better, now that your premises is secure and safe, you can relax at home. Here's a voucher for a massage. What's that? Run to England and hide? Yeah, I mean, they did a very interesting story about theirs. So lots of different things, but make sure you deposit into the emotional bank balance. Because the moment the deposit is swung back to you, what do they feel like they need to do? Either buy again or give you a referral to even up the balance. So every time they give you a referral, what do you give them? How many of you have a gift for when people refer other people to you? Excellent. Those that don't, what are you going to put in place? I know my chiropractor, he does a really great thing. Whenever you refer someone to him, basically he puts a big board up in his room that says, thank you. And underneath it says, thanks to Brad for referring Mary. And it's got a list of everyone who referred someone. And while you're sitting in the waiting room, what are you reading? This thing about all these people that have referred other people. So what are you thinking of? Especially the high Ds. They're thinking, how can I compete with that, The I's are saying, I don't know all those people. So who are your top 20%? That's vital for you to find out in business. Vital to find out. Really focus on them. Now here's an interesting question for your business and for others. Do customers leave feeling satisfaction? We've talked about satisfied customers. I have a very large problem with the word satisfied customers. Because when you're satisfied, by definition, you got what you wanted and nothing more. I always ask, can we let them leaving feeling delighted? How do we get a delighted customer? Because the moment they are delighted, it's entirely different. At what point do you talk about a business that you've dealt with? 1 or 2 points. When you hated it or when you were delighted by it. Do you ever talk about a satisfactory buying experience? You're walking in, you buy something and you walk out and you say, hey Luke, you wouldn't believe it, I just had a satisfactory buying experience. You don't do it. You go, hey, you wouldn't believe these guys. I just bought this stuff and this happened and that happened. One of my favorites, when we were in California, my wife and I, before we were married, we lived in Northern California. And we went into this ladies' wear shop. I walked in there, and up the back of the ladies' wear shop, and when we walked in, the lady said, oh, by the way, the gentleman's area is up the back. And I'm saying, do you sell guys' clothes? She said, no, it's just the gentleman's hangout area. And you go up the back, and they got these big couches with football on a TV up there. They got a self-serve bar over to the side. Now, they only had soft drinks because they couldn't, obviously serve alcohol. But you can go up there, grab yourself a drink, sit down in the chair and watch football. And it's like, this is so cool. And my wife comes up and says, honey, I'm finished. I said, just buy something else. I'll just wait and see the rest of this innings. But you think about it. were we delighted to leave or were we satisfied? And this is where we have to toss around what happens in your business. Satisfaction or delight? Customers want satisfaction, but they talk more when they get more than they expected. That's what delight is by definition. They got more than they expected. The challenge with that is that when you give them something more than they expect, what do they expect next time they shop from you? More than that again, or at least that. So that's why we need to be what, everybody? Proactive. We can't wait. How many of you know that in most companies their customer service department should actually be called their complaints department? They're reactive about customer service. They wait until people complain. And then they start to take care of them. How can you give them more than they expect? Making those emotional bank balance deposits. Get proactive. Keep on getting better. We've got to do this to make sure we're proactive. We have to innovate. It's time to think outside the box. Before we do that, let's get your brains actually thinking outside the box. I want you to do a simple activity for me. There are 9 dots. I want you to draw 9 dots on your page. And I want you to join all 9 dots with 4 straight lines without picking up your pen. So you have to draw 4 straight lines, do not pick up your pen, and join all 9 dots. Some think music, please, maestro. If you've done it before, don't show the person next to you. 4. So how can you continually get better? So to do that, we need to define our moments of truth. Jan Carlson wrote a very good book called Moments of Truth. And he ran SAS, Scandinavian Air Services. And he would talk about a simple point. And the point he raised was that if you folded down the food tray when you got onto the plane and there was a coffee stain on it, did you wonder how well we took care of our engines? And I say the same to you. If I walk into your office and the magazines on the coffee table are 6 years old, do I wonder how your service will take care of me? If I walk into your shop, or if you come to see me and you are dressed shabbily with your shoes unpolished, how well will you fill out my paperwork? Etc., 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 etc. These are times when it really counts to impress with your service. I'll give you Jan Carlson's example. He actually flowcharted the buying and the process of someone buying an airline ticket, coming to the airline, getting on the plane, getting off the plane and getting home. And in his flowchart, he identified some very key moments of truth. One of the moments of truth for an airline was at check-in. Because how well they organised check-in, people started to wonder how well the plane was actually organised, the scheduling and so on and so forth. So what are the moments of truth in your business? When are those moments when people make a decision as to whether you are a quality service organisation or not? There are so many that you need to look at, but the major ones are obviously the ones that you need to take into account most. For example, let's say you're a mortgage broker. What is your biggest moment of truth? Settlement day. It's amazing the number of, in fact, in the last 2 years, I think I've had to coach at least 7 young people that work for me through getting their first home and actually getting the mortgage done. And do you know how much they all panicked when all of a sudden the mortgage wasn't going to be done on time on the contract date? But those of us that have bought many houses, what do we know about settlement date? 80% of the time, it's the day after. You know, and you look at this stuff, and these young people are all in panic mode. I had one young girl run into me in tears. I'm going to lose the house. I'm going to lose everything. They won't settle on time. No, wait, what are you talking about? Well, the bank hasn't got the paperwork ready. Cool, don't worry about it. It never has it ready. And all these different moments of truth when we work out if you're a quality organisation or not. So just think of the top 3 for your business. Just think of the top 3. The basics done is the most important. I used to deal with an accountant that would send me tickets to the football, but he couldn't get my accounts done right. Did I care about the football tickets? No. He couldn't do the basics. And this is the thing with moments of truth. What is it that gets most customer service done? Systems. This is what people mistake. They don't realise that systemising your company is one of the most powerful ways to deliver solid customer service. See, one of the interesting factors of customer service in the world, if you were to think of the best customer service organisation in the world, just think of which one do you think of as the best customer service organisation in the world. Let me ask you to raise your hand if you thought of this one company, McDonald's. Raise your hand if you thought of McDonald's. Everyone look around the room. We've got more than 50% of people thought that a company that gives you a burger that sits at the bottom of your stomach for 5 weeks, that's wrapped in plastic, you have to take the pickles off yourself, it's served on paper on a plastic tray, you have to sit on a chair that you can't pull in because it's stuck to the floor, you have to take your own trash to the bin, that is the world's best customer service organisation. Why? Because they are so consistent. They do the basics well. They make it easy for you to buy. Isn't that phenomenal, though? I can ask that question anywhere in the world and I get the same response, at least 50% of my audience. Phenomenal. So why do people leave you? Well, let's take a look. It isn't marketing, it isn't bad sales. 68% of people leave you because of what they call what, everybody? Come on, you guys, it's called? What the heck is perceived indifference? They think that you don't care. They perceive that you just don't care. 68% of people. Let's take a look at the reasons people do leave. 1% of people leave you because they died. It's pretty hard to retain that portion. Unless you're like a doctor or something, that's probably not a good thing. 3% of people leave you because they move areas, they move house to another area. 5% because they're now buying from a friend who started up their own business doing whatever it is you do. 9% because you were oversold by a competitor. A competitor went in and stole your market from you, outsold you. 14% because they bought a different product or they got a better price. And as we just said, the final 68% because of perceived indifference. Can you solve perceived indifference through marketing? Yeah. If you just sent me a newsletter every 3 months, would I believe that you in some way, shape or form care about me? Yes or no? Yep. Yeah. Even if you sent me a sales letter every other month, at least I know you still got me on your database. That you care in some way, shape or form. And this is where I talk about McDonald's. McDonald's do 2 things extremely well. Number 1, they are what? Consistent. Number 2, they make it easy to buy. Those 2 things are the most important factors in customer service. Once you've done those 2, once you have systems in place, then and only then do you introduce the wow factor. See, for most of us in this room, customer service really boils down to, are your systems in place to deliver on time, every time, first time? Once those systems are in place and you're hitting those targets, then you go for the wow factor. The unfortunate part of customer service is most go for the wow factor first without getting the basics right. This is why I like to look at customer service from a profitability standpoint, not from just a, wow, that sounds nice standpoint. So what gives your customers a feeling of consistency? To get some thoughts on that, please discuss with the people on your table for 30 seconds, 1 minute. Things, up you jump. If you haven't been up today, or even if you have, get up, go, race over the mics. Brian.
Do what you say you're going to do.
Do what you say you're going to do. Very important. Back mic.
Consistent scripts.
Scripts, absolutely.
Punctuality.
Punctuality, very good.
No surprises.
No surprises unless they're pleasant ones. Yeah, absolutely. Front mic.
Constant professionalism.
Professionalism, absolutely.
If you put in a system, you maintain that system all the time, so when that customer comes back the second time, you haven't not carried out the same thing that you did the first time?
Yeah, so key performance indicators to keep track of systems. Very good.
I think it's important to be honest if you can't deliver.
Very important. Honest if you can't deliver. What does McDonald's do that makes you feel consistent? Let's start with some very simple things. Signage, uniform, product, but pictures of the product, colouring, taste. See, do the people in your organisation wear the same sort of uniform all the time? You know, they need some consistency around that. Name tags. Same smell in McDonald's every time you walk in there. Same smell when you drive past. It's like KFC. Can you tell when you've driven past a KFC? It's that consistency of just the basics that gets them there. Bench heights, computer systems, same pimply-faced kid in every one. Sure, they have like a cloning machine. It's funny, you know, because in the States it's the exact opposite. It's all old people that work at McDonald's. Pardon? Why? Yeah, they've been there since it opened, yeah. You know. Oh, because it's a different employment marketplace in the States. Young kids won't go in and work at McDonald's. Different employment marketplace. Pardon? Oh yeah, it used to always be the young kids. But nowadays it's the exact opposite. Except for maybe the more the, like California, Southern California, it's all Hispanics. Florida, all Hispanics. So just different types. But generally the minorities or older people. Funny, you know, you come from Australia and walk into an American McDonald's and there's all these people with grey hair. It's like, am I in the right spot? See, that's one inconsistency. You pick it up real quick. Also in the States, it's different. You order your McDonald's and then they bring it out to you on a tray. You take your ticket and you stand to the side and then they'll bring it across. It's not straight away served to you and then the next. You go in. So, you know, those consistencies